Hey everybody, welcome to Just Got Played. This is top plays for November of 2022. And we have, I don't know where I'm pointing, probably wrong, but Steven, Jim Jam, John, and myself. And we're going to talk about the top games or the best games that we've played in the past 30-ish days since the last video. So I'm just going to jump right into it and start with... let's start with Jim Jam. What was your top play for November?
Well, November was a slow month for gaming. I was on a cruise. I got to play one game on a boat because it was so busy. Other than that, there was like Thanksgiving, so not too much went on. But I did have one long game session, and I was very excited that I got to play a game that I've had for a few months now. Had it unboxing on the channel and everything. I played a couple practice games, but I finally got to play it at full 4-player count. It took like 7 hours, but we got through it. It was fun. It's called My Father's Work. If you haven't seen it before on the channel, yeah, 7 hours. It was 4 people. Two people I had not played before, but they picked it up pretty quickly. If you haven't seen it, basically you're just building a monster or teleporting to the future or making a love potion or immortality, all these different things, trying to complete your father's work before the game is over. It takes place over 3 generations. You have 3 rounds in every generation, and you have yourself, your spouse, a couple of servants, and a couple of like groundskeeper people. You're going around into the town or on your player board, gathering pieces to complete your experiments, like body parts, animal parts, human parts, gears, and potions to come back to your little estate and then perform an experiment or get smart. Very pretty game. Very easy to play, very easy to learn. Everybody understood it within like the first round or two because you just go into the city and getting parts, and that's pretty much it. Once you're out of workers, you're pretty much out of actions. There's just a lot of story. They have been working on this app since before the Kickstarter finished, I'm pretty sure. And they only had the iPhone version when the actual game shipped to everybody. They finished the Android version like a week or two after everybody got the game. And then like a week ago, I finally got the notice that the web version is finally done. So him and work on this game for a long time. And if you haven't had the chance to play it yet, there is a lot of reading. So just make sure you're very literate because you're going to do a lot of reading. They haven't said anything about what are the things they're going to do specifically for the app. I mean, like 50% of the game is the app. And then 50% of the game is actually playing. Well, it's more like 30% because you're really just moving. It's a worker placement as far as the gameplay goes. But like as soon as you're done, each round only takes like 30 minutes. And then it's like another 30 minutes just to read about the whole story and everything. The problem is 1/10 of the story is actually like verbally, dubbed. It's like dubbed, 1/10 of it. So it reads to you for that little bit and then it just kind of picks up and it's like, oh, it's time for you to read. So depending how fast everybody reads and comprehends the story, that's how long the games go. There's not a whole lot in the app to make like decision-making stuff. Sometimes you have to vote and sometimes you have to like choose a special event, and there's secret stuff for certain players if they did something earlier in their generation when they're like a grandparent versus when they're the grandchild. But for the most part, it's just reading. It's flavor text. That's really what it is. So My Father's Work, the flavor text game. That's right.
Wow. You know, I was there when you unboxed the game and I was like, yes. Ooh, this is cool. Yeah, these components are neat. All right, awesome. But I was looking at it and thinking like, oh, this is probably, a 3-hour game. 7? Oof.
Full 4 people. That was the first time I had a full 4-person game. It took about 7 hours. It was literally just reading. And we tried to take turns, but some people were just like not the quickest readers or not motivated to read. So in order to get the game going, kind of just the fastest reader kind of just read through everything, did everybody's parts and just read it all.
So you're cooperatively reading a novella is essentially
what it
comes down to.
Yes. It's a great story, but yeah, it's only half a board game.
I got enough books to get through. I think I'll pass on that.
Yeah. Does the app respond to what happened in the game, or is it just a story and you're playing in the story and it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I would say, that's the 1/10 of it. Sometimes like you have to kill somebody. You just, spoiler alert, I'm not going to say who gets killed, but there's a point there you have to choose who gets killed. And like, depending on what you did, and that usually happens in the first generation. In the third generation, the town like hates your grandchildren or whatever, depending on who you killed. But what is nice is you unlock more stories the more times you play it, which is cool. So like 10% of the way of all the total stories you can do. unlock. But it's a story game. That's it. So yeah, and I would like to see that in future iterations of the app, like you were asking, more like choose your own adventure type things, because there's not a whole lot. But you can tell, like, there are points in there. It's like, oops, we killed the wrong person. Oh, we're all screwed. We got a bunch of zombies running around town. What are we going to do about that? Oh, one of us is going to be their leader. That's great. So the other three people are like trying to run around and grab stuff before the zombies kill them. And one person's like, to go kill these people or something like that. So that very much, if you like a story game and not a worker placement game, then there you go. More like Arkham Horror type thing where you just driving the story along. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Maybe I don't mind long games if they're entertaining. Like, I've played several Arkham Horrors that are like 6 hours, but
yeah, it's nice. It's very much like Arkham Horror where you don't notice it's been 6 hours because you're like focused on the story and the actual gameplay. So that part was nice. It was just nice to have like a full day to be able to play it finally at 4 players. Everybody enjoyed it. It just, the story got a little long for some people. It's like, can we just get to the actual gameplay? Because it'd be like some rounds would be only like 10 minutes because everybody just did everything because you didn't have enough workers. And then the story would be like another 20, 30 minutes before you got to the next round. So you just be in the middle of like Generation 2, second round, in between second and third round. And be, okay. Oh, that's right. We got one more round. we're not done yet. So you forget what round you were in. If there was no round marker, it'd be like, did we move this up or down yet? So, but yeah, if you like Arkham Horror, you like Eldritch Horror, you like all that stuff, it's very immersive story. So there's that.
All right. Well, geez. Okay. John, you got a 7-hour game or maybe 4 7-hour games?
No, I tend to like the hour and a half mark. After that, I just get bored and I want to get home. So that's why my top game is Guilds of Merchant Explorers, which is it's an interesting game. You're essentially just going around the map and trying to connect points of interest to earn different points, exploring sea tiles, connecting cities, doing all this stuff. So it kind of almost feels like an abstract because you're just putting cubes on a board. Everybody has their own player boards. However, they added one element to it that really just turns it into a completely different experience, and it's they have tech cards. So what happens is every round you're going to get the same base cards that are going to come up, and it's going to say put 2 mountain tiles down or put down 3 water tiles in a row, and you do the basic ones. But when the technology card comes up, everybody gets their own unique technology card, and then you activate that immediately. Then when you go into the next round, that technology card will come up again, and you'll reactivate it. But there's also a second technology that you get. And the third round, you get a third technology. And then there's one final round where you activate all 3 of the technology cards you have, and then a wild card that lets you reactivate any of the 3 that you did previously. So it's very much an evolving puzzle with all of these unique tech cards that completely change the way it plays while you're all trying to race for the same objectives. So we may all trying to be put out, say, the first person to put out 4 villages. If you do that first, you get 10 points. If you're second to do it, or third, fourth, or fifth, you only get 5. So it's very much you're just putting cubes on a board and moving around, but those tech cards and racing for those objectives really make the game a lot more interesting than it has any right to be, basically. So it is a little bit multiplayer solitaire-ish in the fact that you're not doing heavy interaction, you're just racing for objectives. However, those tech cards just keep the game fresh, and it's going to be a different experience every time because you're going to have the 3 different tech cards each time, and they can combo off of each other, changes the way you're doing strategies and stuff like that. So it's a newer game. I think it came out last year. It's a really fun one. It's one of the, I'd say in the last couple of years, it's the only game I've ranked 10 out of 10 personally because I really enjoy it. So Guilds of Merchant Explorers, great game.
Yeah, I remember we played this game together at a con this summer, and I did you order it right then and there on your phone at the table, or did you wait till that evening when you got back to your hotel room? I couldn't remember.
Well, halfway through the game, I just nudged my wife, who was playing a different game at the next table, and said we should buy this game, which she did. So I was halfway through the first playthrough, and then I don't know. It's one of those things. Like after you play board games for so long, you just know when something clicks with you, and you're just like, this is a game I need to have. And whenever I've had that instinct, it's never been wrong on me. And it certainly isn't wrong in this case.
Yeah, this is a solid game. I would have it in my collection if it went to 6 players, but 4 is a tough number for me. So, But yeah, otherwise, yeah, sure, I'd have it. Good game.
I have not played it. Probably never will play it. I do remember one of the podcasts I listened to reviewing it. They named it. They were like, it's just 3 generic words put together to make the name of the game.
It very much is. There's no real theme. It's pasted on for sure, but it's a game where the mechanics carry it heavily, and it doesn't matter that there's not any great art or theme or anything interesting about it. It's just a really fun puzzle.
As a fellow board game snob, I feel you. I too will like a game as soon as somebody starts telling me the rules. Before they're done, I'm like, all right, this is my kind of game right here.
Yep, you just get that feeling eventually.
Yeah, 10 years in the business.
Yeah.
All right, Steven, what was your top play?
It is not very often that I get to play a 7-hour game, but every December I host a charity poker tournament at my house, which lasts 7 hours. And we raise thousands of dollars for local children's hospital. So that's cool. But in the run up to that, I host a game night in November where people get to come practice. You know, some people, they won't play poker except at my tournament, right? So they sort of want to brush up on how to play. So I'll have some people over. We'll play, just a couple hour game of poker to get warmed up. And it's great for me because I get to play in the warm up game, whereas, during the actual tournament, I don't get to play. I'm too busy playing host. Poker is my play for November. And, poker is a classic game. I don't know how long it's been around. It's been around 1800s, maybe. Might be the sort of version of poker that everybody's familiar with, right? You got 5 cards and you're trying to get, pairs or 2 pair or 3 of a kind or flush, straight, whatever, full house. And I don't know how old Texas Hold'em is, but maybe 20 years ago or so ago, I discovered Texas Hold'em, and that really kicked the game up another notch to me, right? Because poker is sort of basic. I mean, it's just set collection and some bluffing, right? Because you're betting, and so you can win a hand even if you don't have the best hand by getting everybody else to fold, right? But with Texas Hold'em, you've got that whole extra level because first of all, ultimately you're going to make a 5-card hand out of 7 cards. So that's sort of an interesting puzzle there. You're like looking at what's on the board, what can other people have? And there are several rounds of betting, right? So you're like, okay, they bet like this and then they bet like that. So what did that mean? They didn't bet, then that card came out and then they bet. Does that mean that card helped them, or were they just trapping, or are they bluffing? So you've got this interesting sort of deduction thing going on, and that's what makes poker fun, right? There's a lot of card games, they're just basic go fish, whatever, war, it's like you're playing cards, but it doesn't really matter what the other people are doing so much. But with poker, it's all about the other player's behavior, right?
Would you say that Texas Hold'em is the best expansion to the social deduction game of poker?
That's great. Hold on a second. Are we putting gambling games in here? Then I have a different top play of it. I was playing a game on a boat. Yeah.
I mean, are you saying poker isn't a tabletop game? I mean,
I don't even know if poker counts. Texas Hold'em counts. I will say,
why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so I got to tell you about
game?
Let It Ride. Okay. That's my new game that I played on the boat for November. That's my new top play. If you don't play Let It Ride poker, then you should. A lot simpler. But
I haven't.
Instead of going to your practice, I actually went to my downtown area where I go play poker, and I just had to say I won that one. So, in lieu of your charity tournament, that's
nice
practice. That's what we did instead. My plus
That's
one.
okay. His tournament's rigged. I've never won. Clearly it's rigged.
Well, I can tell you, I think a lot of people sort of discount some of these classic games, right? They're making their top 100 games of all times list, and you won't see Go or chess or poker. But I mean, I'll put poker in my top 100. I'll put chess in my top 100, right?
I would put spades up there.
Yeah,
I think spades is a great game.
Yeah, those games are old and their mechanisms have been used in other games, but they're just they're classic, they're timeless, and they're evergreen. They're evergreen, and they've got the experiences distilled, right? Poker is just poker, right? It's just simple.
I'm a hearts man myself. I like hearts. Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, so I'm sticking with, yes, I played other board games and I could have picked other board games, but the most fun I had playing a game at a table in November was Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, I'm not a gambler person, so I don't touch any of those because RNG kills me.
Well, we don't play for real money.
Yeah, I know, but it's just Yeah, no, I don't know. I like spades, but poker it never really clicked. Oh well. Kind of, I don't really know what to pick for my top play. I thought I was just gonna pick something. Um, I was going through the list trying to figure out what I actually played because it didn't seem like that many, but I played quite a bit. I think I'm just gonna go into like full spoiler territory here on a legacy game that's a few years old, and I don't think it was that popular anyway. But whatever. It's Machi Koro Legacy.
You can spoil that. I don't care.
Yeah. There's not much storyline to it. I'm basically spoiling mechanics in there. So if you don't want to be spoiled up until like game 4, then stop watching now and fast forward to the end.
You're the editor, so just skip spoiler warning on the bottom.
Yeah, I'll put a spoiler warning, or somebody will they edit this. But so I played original Machi Koro, which is it's okay. It's not terrible. I got when I bought it because I thought my wife would like it. I got the Bright Lights Big City one, and that just like made it even worse because it made it longer. There's a lot more red cards. Unless I did something, I can't really remember the rules right, but the normal game you have like 3 things you're trying to build in your little town to win. The Bright Lights Big City one ups it to like 5, and you're supposed to build all 5, and it just draws the game out.
No, it gives you a choice of 5, but you only build 3. And Bright Lights Big City gave you a much better starting layout because instead of it just being whatever the heck came off the top of the deck, they were like in 3 different categories.
Yeah, I do remember
So the setup was much better in that second version or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that was just for variety on those milestones. I don't think it actually made it. Those milestone buildings, whatever, monuments, whatever.
Anyway, well, maybe I messed that up. Because I was like, man, I just remember playing with 5 and I was like, this goes on forever trying to build 5 of those things. But the legacy one is actually fairly entertaining because each game you're opening something and it's adding some new thing, and it kind of helps speed the game up. So you're not moving along at the same pace each game. So the first one's just like regular Machi Koro. You have a town goal. You have to build all your town, and then you have like a central goal that everyone's working towards. And then when you get into game 2 and game 3 and game 4, you start adding new stuff. So one of the things they add is there's a little mountain, a little gem mine. And whenever you roll, you can decide to not buy something that turn and instead draw a line to start closing in the gems on the mountain. And once you put a sticker down, you will get a gem. And those gems can be used throughout the game. They can be used to re-roll, or there's certain monuments that allow you to like turn gems in for cash. Then there's like a little turtle that comes out and he starts visiting everybody's towns. So you want to, it's better to have more spaces in your town than doubling up on like 2 or 3 of the same property, because you want to keep that turtle. When he lands on your spot, you get whatever the cost of the town that he lands on the spot, you get that in money. So you want to kind of trap him in your zone as much as you can. There's just all these weird little mini games that they add. So every game, there's like a new little mini game that gets added on that kind of changes up how the game works. And the coolest thing, I think, is that whoever wins the game gets to choose the next set of cards that you're going to add to the town lineups to buy, or the city lineups. All the cards are double-sided, so you can choose between a red and a blue. And at some point later in the games, those cards will start flipping over in the middle of the game. So it might be a blue, but something will cause it to flip, and now it'll be a red. But the reason why I like it is because I hate the red cards, because the red cards just like they slow the game down, because your money's changing hands instead of getting more money. And if everyone has red cards and everyone's just trading money and no one ever gets enough money to do anything. So we have one red card that we chose early on, and nobody buys it because it's a 1-digit one. And once you get into like game 2 or 3, you can just start rolling 2 dice all the time.
Oh,
so it's a little bit more that you have to choose at the beginning, because you start getting more town cards and you have to choose 3 or 4 of the ones you want to start with. So you don't get to use all of them. So you can kind of pick and choose, like, I want all the high level ones or the low number ones. But that's, I guess, my top play. We played like 3 games in November. We started, I think, in October. I think we're up to like game 5 now, maybe. going on to 6.
Cool. So can I digress for a second on the legacy topic?
Sure.
So
No.
I have 2 legacy expansions. I have Shy Pluto for Space Base, and I have War and Peace, or whatever it's called, for It's a Wonderful World. And I have those because I love those games. And I know that those legacy expansions sort of add stuff in. But I also know that, like, I don't think I'm ever going to get a group together to play through the whole legacy thing with me, right? So I'm wondering, should I just trade those expansions away, or should I just open them and get the cool stuff that's in there and put it in the base game? Because when you're done with the legacy, that's just like an expansion that you can add to the game. You know, I mean, the It's a Wonderful World one, there's 6 sort of scenarios in there, and you play 5 of them because there's a decision at the 4th whether you want to go one way or the other. In Shy Pluto, what is it, like 12 or something? I don't know. There's a lot, I think, in Shy Pluto. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think?
You're very, very pessimistic right now.
I think he's being very accurate, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've had Shy Pluto for more than a year.
I've played through several
there and make
legacy
more
games.
frames. That's all there's to it.
I don't have the time, mostly.
The problem is it starts to feel like homework at a certain point. Once the novelty's worn off, and it's like, we need to meet, and it has to be this game, and then the next time we meet, it's going to have to be this game again. You know, so it's really hard to get through a full legacy scenario with the same people and have everybody enjoy it all the way through. It's a great concept that simply just does not factor in human behavior.
I mean, we did it with Mechs versus Minions. We did it with Charterstone, although at the end of Charterstone, it did begin to feel a bit like a chore. Pandemic Legacy, Season 1, I couldn't get together frequently enough for that game to be fun. I think you need to play that game pretty close each scenario in calendar time for it to be good, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence. I don't know if I'm just going to open. Yeah, I mean, you know, and face it, I bought those expansions because I like those games. So maybe I just don't need the expansions. I already like the games, right?
Yeah, I would say that's your cake, the game, and then the legacy is the frosting on there. So if you're good with carrot cake.
Is the legacy stuff for there like really story driven, or is it just new stuff that you add every game?
I think it's both.
I think
the new mechanical stuff wouldn't be as interesting without the exploration and the story that went with it.
Yeah, maybe.
But I've bought 3 copies of Risk Legacy, and I've finished 0 copies of Risk Legacy. It's just not worth the effort, even though when it does work, it sings.
Well, that's just because you end up burying your opponents out back. You know, you can't take it anymore.
What?
That's true, but I bury them with the game, so I got to get a new copy.
And I still have my copy of Risk Legacy I got for $10 at a warehouse clearance sale, and all I've done is open it.
It's still to this day the best legacy game of all time. I would recommend it to anyone. It's amazing, but it is 15 games of Risk at its base, and that's a hard sell.
Yeah,
I still want to do that. I haven't done a Risk Legacy, and I still want to do it.
It's amazing. You must do it at least once.
I'll try all the legacy games. I have no problem with that. I do feel you on the homework thing because I did do Charterstone and Skithy.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy
Rise of Fenris.
Yeah, Fenris. And they were fun, but yeah, they did turn into homework. But those are both 6 players, and we got all 6 players to finish all of them. So I think it just depends on the group. Like both of the groups I played with, they were pretty cool, so I had no problem. But yeah, the homework part of it, it's like, man. But nobody else really felt it, so we got through it, and everybody was like, "I'm glad we played it." So,
Mechs versus Minions.
Shelf versus good.
The Mechs versus Minions, we met once a month. It took us an entire year to get through that campaign, you know, which I was okay with, but you know,
we all have shelves of board games, and you want to get through and play them. I have games I love that hasn't seen the table in years, just because that's the nature of board games. So, to lock into one board game for every month for a year. That's 12 other board games that you didn't get to the table, and it's not always going to be the best experience because legacy games ebb and flow over time. So I've given up on them, but I love them in concept.
Yeah, I think I've given up on them too. And so now I have to decide, trade away the legacy expansions or just open them.
Yeah, you can't ask me because you guys buy and sell games more on a regular basis. I'm a geek, so I need to buy all the expansions, and if it sits there for 10 years unwrapped, I'm totally fine with it.
I'm getting over my completionist thing, right? I had that completionist thing, but I'm over it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Machi Koro doesn't have the games doesn't last very long, and it doesn't have a ton of story that you're reading. It's like 1 or 2 cards that you're reading, and it's like explaining the new mechanism, and that's about it. So it's not that much of a chore, and there's not much going on in Machi Koro Legacy. You're rolling two dice, so the turns are fast. Like it's just fast. So
I will say I did play through Zombie Kids Evolution and Zombie Teens, maybe Evolution. I don't know what it's called. Those are both legacy games for kids. And because I was playing with my kids, they were like, oh, let's play. We got through those pretty quick. And I think that's how you're supposed to have a legacy experience. And that worked really well.
Well, that's a captive audience. They rely on you for food and shelter. So it's like, we're playing a legacy game tonight. They're playing the game.
Want to eat, play this game.
That's the reason I have kids, right? To force them to play your favorite board game.
That's right. You got to make your own gaming group, right?
Exactly.
That's the good kind of homework for them. So they're probably
All right. Well, I think that was everyone's. We'll go to the People's Choice now.
The People's Choice for top plays.
What did the poll say? All right.
Wingspan.
or Arc Nova. It's Arc Nova.
All right.
They're still playing Arc Nova to this day.
That was our top plays for the month of November. Tune in again next month, and you'll hear what we played in December, maybe in January. It's going to be hard to film right around Christmas and New Year's, but we'll get it in. Check in the description down below for our links to all of our socials, medias, whatever, however the kids say it. We have a Discord, we have a Facebook. Do we still have a Twitter, even though that place is imploding?
We got Twitter and Instagram, man.
So, check down there to follow along. Come yell at us on Discord and tell Steven why he should play through all the legacies he has.
Don't sell.
And as always, that was Steven. Maybe I'm pointing. That's Jim Jam. That's John. And I am Lloyd. And thanks for watching.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year's. Until next top plays.
Bye.